Hi everyone, my name is Luana Gonzalez, and for my presentation, I decided to go with jQuery plugin Midnight.JS. So I'm excited to go over what it's about, and as well as show you how you can set it up and how you can use it as well on your websites. So let's hop over to the next slide. So Midnight.js is a useful jQuery plugin created by Aero Labs for websites that are scrolling or have a parallax effect. So if you have a fixed logo or navigation, if you will, and as you scroll down into each new section, that header can change whatever color or whatever font. So you can customize in your CSS what what's going to happen, what color, like for example, what color that font is going to change when it goes into a new section. So let me just hop over to their demo page really quick because sometimes it's better to see what that person's talking about than just listening. And they have a very impressive website. And as you see, when you scroll down, it changed color to a light blue. Then it changed the style of the font. It goes back to dark blue, bold. And as you scroll down into each new section, the header changes. And I found this very neat because um, as scrolling websites are becoming popular, no, they're pretty popular nowadays. And it's very interesting why. It's because the whole web world, being responsive and being mobile friendly is the top of the top of the of priority today. So with scrolling websites, as it decreases the load time, you don't have to hop over to each tab on a navigation to go into another page. You just stay on that page and keep scrolling, and you go into a new section, but you're just scrolling down. You don't have to ever leave that one web page. So, and I think this plugin is very powerful when it comes to that because sometimes you want the new section that you're going into, to look different. So I think this gives the power for you to change maybe your logo, the color of your logo, or when you go into a new section of the web page, or the color of the navigation. So it's a very neat plugin, if you will. So I'm just going to hop back over here. And I think it's also, it comes in handy, especially for branding purposes, if that's the main idea of your website, if you just want to feature your product or your service and you want that customer to keep looking at your logo at the same time, whole time, but you want it to pop in each new section. So I think it can be very eye catching. Um, or it doesn't even have to be branding. If your whole idea is about design and you just want a variety for each new section that the user is scrolling into, I think it can be a powerful tool to bring that variety to your scrolling website. So let's talk about getting started and how to put this together. So the number one thing, of course, before we can even start coding or preparing our markup, is that we need to download the jQuery library and as well as the Midnight plugin. So I'm just going to go down here. I think everyone's familiar with jQuery library right now, but if not, here's the website to download. Then it's the same web page to download for Midnight.js. I'm not going to download it because I already have downloaded it on my computer prior to this. And I just want to show really quick Midnight's README file on their GitHub, and it's a really great resource. I love how they put together their README file because it's so extensive. It really explains very well how to use your plugin, and not only just about setting up and how you can further customize the header. The possibilities are endless. And one of the things that they do point out, though, is that is that is that to make sure your header size, the height size, remains consistent. So I guess so the flow of as you're scrolling down can be smooth as possible if the height remains consistent. So let's hop back over here. So once you downloaded all those files, of course you're going to have to link them to your HTML. So I have linked the libraries, jQuery library, as well as the Midnight plugin. I've put them right before the closing body tag right over here. And I also created a CSS file to build out the website that I'm demonstrating. And also, this is the same CSS, the Midnight.CSS is the same CSS file that I'm using to customize the header, in which I will get into a little bit more into detail in the next slide. And I also have included, I also added a reset style sheet, as you can see here, to my markup in order to normalize the elements that my default browser, well, not just my default browser, but any default styling in any browser, so to normalize that, so I don't have issues while I build out my website, right? Okay, and you can get a reset style sheet through normalize.css. They're pretty good, and just include it, and then it removes all the, like, sometimes the H1 tag has already preset margins or preset padding, and then you're like trying to move things around and you're like, why is it so funky? Well, this helps. Why isn't my markup not listening, or my CSS not listening to me? So this helps reset everything and give you more control of your styling, the styling of your website. So let me go ahead and close all these out and back to coding. So after everything is linked up, you want to create your header. So as they demonstrated on their website, you used a nav tag, and so you use a nav tag. Sorry. I'm trying to process everything to explain this the best way possible. So the header could be a fixed logo or navigation. But for this example, I'm using a logo. I'm using the nav element and then setting a class of fixed, which will be styled momentarily, or I'm going to show you how to style it momentarily. And then within the nav tag, there's a div with a class of Midnight header default. So if a specific, like for example, a specific color, right, is not defined for a certain section, then it will always fall back to its default. So its default is just with the color black. There's no added color or anything. It's just simple with black lettering. And then within the div, I have created an anchor element with a class of logo, so I can customize the name of the company, Luana Photography. On a side note, I do photography as a second part-time job, so all the images are my own. And here, just to continue on, so I commented here sections. So from here, we can create sections that the fixed header will be scrolling through. I created an empty header that is styled in the CSS that I have. So you will see in the demonstration how the default class will take over. That's just to show the example of the default class, Midnight header default. So I've created 4 sections with a class of first, second, third, and fourth background, each styled with its own background image. And then here you will see that I've added a data midnight attribute to each section, defining what color I want it to be changed. These colors are customized in CSS, and before I head over to the CSS code, we need to do one more thing to make sure everything works. So let me scroll down here to the bottom. I don't know if you noticed earlier, there's one more script tag that I added, and that's to initialize the plugin and target the selector that we want Midnight to add its magic to, if you will. So right here you see the $document.ready function, and then nav.fix, which is the selector right here, the class fix and nav. We want the plugin to apply its properties to. So let's go ahead and move over to the CSS. So I'm just going to scroll down here. So before I start talking about the headers, styling the headers, the different headers, I just want to point out really quick right here in nav.fix, of course, in order to make the logo fixed, we got to make sure the position is fixed. So just before we do anything, we go on styling everything, you make sure that the header is fixed, because if it's not, then you're going to be scrolling down and it's just going to go away. So it's not going to scroll with you, the header. So let's see here. And here you'll see the backgrounds that I stylized with the background image, gave them heights. And this is the important part here. So to see how it really all works. So in the CSS, you would go into and you type in .midnight header and then you choose the color that you want to style. And in my case, I chose gray, and then .logo, so it can specifically change the logo Luana Photography. So right here I put the color light gray, and then you see here in the blue section, and as well as in the white section, I've also changed the font to be a bolder font from previously. Not only change the color, but let's change the font too, make it a little bit bolder. And then this is my last style with red. So when you go back to the markup here in the sections, when I enter these values, gray, blue, red, and white, it will go in here and pick up the gray, blue, white. Well, I have it backwards here, red and white. So yeah, in the first section, first background, gray. So then it'll go and get whatever properties that need to be changed for gray. So it's just like gray, the color. So let me go ahead and show you all the finished product. It's very simple. It's not, and I was very surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than what it seemed. But after really reading into it, it's very simple to set up. You know, you just have to put everything together, built out, have an idea what you want to create, and then you just apply the styling. I mean, there's so much more you can do with it. But so let me just go ahead and do that, show you the final product. This is the header part that you saw in the markup that was empty. And then right here, this half part of Luana Photography is a default Midnight header. And then here is where the gray starts. And so when you scroll, in this section, in this image, is gray. And then when you go in here, it turns to blue and a bolder font, bolder style. Then it goes and turns into red here. And in the fourth image, it turns into white, but goes back to the bold font. So it was I had a lot of fun putting this together, and as well as the presentation, actually using Reveal.js. So I hope you all enjoyed this video and consider Midnight.js as a future plugin for your projects. Thank you.